Hi everybody, welcome to part 3 of the mysterious Megnancies. We will be dealing with the actual birth of Archie and start on the journey thereafter. I'm giving a short synopsis, remember, and like in the previous 2 videos, part 1 was titled Let's Start at the Very Beginning of a Magic Pregnancy, and part 2 was yesterday titled The Strange Travel Arrangements during Meghan Markle's Megnancy. And in the description box will be links to older videos like I've done before. If you have not yet watched part 2, The Strange Travel Arrangements, then I suggest you do, because in this video I also talk about the royal doctors, and in today's video that is exactly where we are going to continue from. So here we go. Before we continue with the medical side of things and the actual birth, I was also reminded in the comment section of the last video of the risk of Zika virus in both Tonga and Fiji. Although there were no reported cases of Zika in Tonga in 2017 and 2018, there is still a risk of the virus in Tonga. Fiji is, however, very prone to the Zika virus outbreaks, and travel brochures actually come out with a warning to pregnant women. But Meghan Markle, pregnant supposedly with a 6th in line to the throne, was sent to Tonga and Fiji while only a couple of weeks pregnant. I'm telling you, it is absolute BS. Also consider that the coldest months in Fiji is July and August, and the cooler months with a lower risk of these mosquitoes and the Zika virus is June to September. But they went in October, and as I said, in her earlier pregnancy, or early pregnancy supposedly, when abnormalities due to Zika could still occur. I'm 99.9% sure the royal family must have known at that stage already that there was no risk to Meghan Markle, because that little bump in October was just bloatedness from overeating and drinking. Anyway, guys, if you had watched one of the videos I linked yesterday, titled something like A Fairy Tale About a Birth That Never Happened, you would have gathered that there was a lot of speculation about where Meghan would have her baby. St. Mary's like Diana and Catherine, or the Portland like Fergie, or at home, a story which Meghan was quite eager to spread. Very early on, I was told, though, that it would be extraordinary if Meghan's doctor would allow her to have a home birth, as it was supposedly her first, I've got a bridge to sell, you remember, at the age of 37. But, you know, Meghan had to have the mystery continue for as long as possible. But at some point she, or her mother, or Harry, or Marcus must have watched one of our videos and gone, oopsie, Meggie, you better have that big fart at some hospital, otherwise the story will sound even more suspicious. So the narrative was changed. Now note that right from the beginning we were told that the baby was due in spring. Not very specific, but Meghan told numerous people, members of the public, that the baby was due in April. Anyway, in the meantime, staff at St. Mary's and the Portland were having bets about where she'll end up having the child, and it led to great fun and excitement. Yet, when it was announced that she was in labour, there was big consternation among the staff of both hospitals, because unless they were deaf, dumb and blind, or she was having the child in the janitor's broom closet, she could not be found anywhere in either hospital. There was also no Harry or any security detail pacing the hallways or watching a specific door or even in the car park. But of course, by the time it was announced that Megan had gone into labour, they were supposedly already at home with the baby. And that is, of course, according to Harry's book, Spare. And folks, let me interrupt myself here. Now, in hindsight, I think the story that they were home within 2 hours of Megan giving birth was deliberately spun that way, because they knew somebody was going to be clever enough to check. So now they could say, of course we were not there when you started looking for us, because we were home already. But Harry and Meghan are obviously not very clever, because everything is being put into record at a hospital. From the needle they use for an epidural, swabs, etc., etc. Doctors usually also sign in, and so does midwives. If not at the front desk, then they sign for medications and other stuff. Also, the proof of life, or the live birth certificate. The details of the birth is also entered into a centralized computer system. This computer system will provide all the details of the birth, including the attending physician and or midwife, etc. This system or systems are either the PDS system or the NCRS, which is the National Care Record Service. PDS will also notify the ONS, or the Office for National Statistics. I really cannot say more than this, except that if Archie was born in the Portland, the usual procedures were not followed. The rest you can imagine for yourselves, or those of you who had babies or worked in the healthcare system will catch the implication or the nuance. But let's get back to the two hospitals and staff. So it was announced that at 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. or 1400 hours on the 16th of May, via a short Buckingham Palace statement, that Meghan had gone into labour. I mean, almost 8.5 hours after Archie was supposedly born. 40 minutes later, at about 2:40, it was announced that she had given birth. Yes, indeed, there was a small contingent of paparazzi and junior journalists staking out St. Mary's and the Portland, but of course there was nothing to be seen, not even them driving away. I mean, remember how Eugenie was caught in the car leaving the hospital with August? But this time the staff at the Portland and St. Mary's were indeed perplexed. But yes, it could have been due to the fact that the announcement went out so late. That is, of course, until staff had the time to investigate further. And it is safe to say that unless Meghan did give birth in a broom closet and the attending doctor was the janitor, there's no evidence that she gave birth at the Portland, only their word and a dodgy birth certificate. I just want to point out to you that at the time, before, during and after the birth, an ambulance was seen just outside of Frogmore and a helicopter hovering or landing or taking off. Now, it may mean something or it means absolutely nothing. I'm just mentioning it. Anyway, a friend in the medical profession has a theory, and believe me, she has very good reason for her theory. It is her opinion, or then her theory, that Archie was born in a private clinic. The reason why this particular birth drew her attention was because of its extraordinary circumstances. The pregnant woman was alone. No husband, boyfriend, parents, siblings, or friends with her to support her. She was not in labor when she came in. She looked healthy, but was rather quiet. Neither of us can remember the date, but after a while it came to my friend's attention that the attending doctor was trying to convince this woman to allow them to induce her or to perform a cesarean to remove the baby. She refused. Eventually, however, she, for some reason, agreed. She was induced and the baby was born. There were a few complications, however, which I am not going to talk about because it is pure speculation, and the idea is also not to share anyone's medical records or conditions, be it Archie's or anyone else's. Anyway, the child was transferred to a hospital, likely the Portland. During the child's time there, he had no visitors except the woman who birthed him, who came a few times. There were only a doctor and 2 nurses allowed in his room per shift, and although they tried to hide the fact, but eventually management relented and confirmed that the person or persons hanging out in the corridor were security. They refused any further explanation though. The kid came in the latter part of April. Now, as I said, I lost my notes and she couldn't quite remember. But it was on or after the 20th of April. And he was released from hospital around the 15th of May. All my informant could tell me about the woman, could or would tell me. She is in the medical profession, so she has to keep a certain amount of things private, is that the woman was a British passport holder, and that she was told the woman was a surrogate and had left the country when she asked about her. My informant / friend likely knows more than she's telling, or maybe she doesn't. But what she thinks she knows, she had shared with a select number of people, just in case she is to have an unexpected accident. She also said that she was never one of the select few allowed into the child's room, so she can't or couldn't tell what he looks like. She could, however, give a description of the woman. Unfortunately, it fits the description of many average women. It also fits the description of almost every woman who was named as a possible surrogate. In all the information and gossip I received, there was just one significant further mention about the surrogate after the birth. I was contacted by someone who worked for Harry and Meghan for a while as household staff, and that is after their move to the United States. According to her, she overheard a short conversation between Meghan and Harry. They had visitors, and Harry and the husband had taken off for Invictus business, and after their return, now I don't know, can't remember whether the other people had already left or not. I mean, that is why you need to go watch my old videos. I can't always remember minor details like that. Anyway, after Harry and the husband returned, there was a heated conversation between Harry and Meghan in which she indicated that they, Harry and Meghan, gave them so much money that they literally bought their house for them. And now they are doing this to them. Now what this is, we are not sure about. But the housekeeper, for some reason, assumed or was made to believe that it was about the surrogacy. And I can't really remember why she thought that. And I haven't been in contact with her for a long, long time, so I can't go back and ask her. Anyway, one thing I can tell you, because I had an email conversation with a woman in brown at the church, and I can honestly and directly tell you that she was not the surrogate. She is aware of what was being said. She had never come out and disputed it, but everybody that matters anything to her, her employer, her friends, her family, know that it wasn't her. So that's all she cares about. She wasn't going to make a big hoo-ha about it. Okay, guys, that is enough for today. I'll get to the general royal news in a couple of hours. Until then, please take good care of yourselves until we meet again on the next one. Bye.